A catastrophic injury, though, requires a more intense look into how exactly is this going to impact your life.
Do you know what qualifies as a catastrophic injury? And do you know what to do if you or a loved one suffers one? Well, that's what we're going to ask the lawyer today. And my guest is attorney Jan Hinson with offices in Greenville, South Carolina and Alpharetta, Georgia. Jan, thank you for making some time to answer our questions today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just start with a definition. I've heard this phrase before, and maybe I know what it is. But tell us, as far as the law is concerned, what is a catastrophic injury?
A catastrophic injury is one that actually requires some very deep diving into the legal aspects of a case. So you've heard of car accidents and car accident attorneys, where they're largely dealing with the insurance company getting you the best solution that they can, working with insurance adjusters. However, when you suffer a catastrophic injury, one that, let me just kind of put it bluntly, blood, a hospital, broken bones, things that are going to be long lasting and that are going to alter your life. And that is what's termed catastrophic, not something you're going to sort of quickly recover from. You want some compensation for it. A catastrophic injury, though, requires a more intense look into how exactly is this going to impact your life. Are you going to require a life care plan? What kind of things does this injury impact? What did you do before that you cannot do now? How do we quantify that? What sort of experts are needed? Is the law firm willing to actually invest the money to hire those type of experts to get you the highest dollar amount that you deserve for your injury?
So you're covering a lot of my questions all in that one answer, Jan. So let's talk about the what happens after a catastrophic injury, and I assume that a loss of life would also be involved, would be considered catastrophic injury. What happens then? What happens our loved one? What if the case has already begun and there's a loss of life after that?
If the case has already begun and you've got someone who's very, very injured and they ultimately succumb to their injuries, the case is not lost. What the case is, even if it hasn't been started yet, then the representative of that deceased person would then file on their behalf and on behalf of the loved ones who have lost that person to the catastrophic injury.
And what if someone says, okay, we've determined it's a catastrophic injury. What's my case worth? What do you say to that?
The case worth is determined by many factors. Sometimes the laws of your state or jurisdiction impact how much you can receive. Sometimes the injury itself requires that you have to calculate long-term implications of a particular injury. In the case of a loss of life, it depends on how does your state actually measure in terms of the value of the life. How does the state define how to measure that loss of life? So a lot of factors go into what's your case worth. So it's really difficult to do unless you look into all the particulars of your situation and where it occurred.
Let's talk about just trying to pay the bills. What if someone suffers catastrophic injuries? Medical bills can be overwhelming. Is there any help with that when they file a case?
Yes, oftentimes in my cases, I have a funding company come in, look at the case, and they then take over the medical bills and the medical providers, and they help the clients get the help that they need medically. Oftentimes these things are very expensive, and you certainly don't want your credit to suffer when you're going through a situation that's already as horrible as a catastrophic injury is for you and for your family. So in a legal case, your attorney can bring in people to help in that capacity to get you the medical care that you need and to also provide advance funding to you in the case of you need money because you can't work, or perhaps you've lost a loved one or a child, and you need money because you're unable to go to work and keep fulfilling your duties because of the upset it has caused. There are funding companies who will come in on your behalf and take a lien against the proceeds of the case so that you can continue to live and continue to get the help that you need.
What if someone thinks, all right, so we've covered the medical costs. What if they're thinking, how do I afford an attorney? You mentioned the expert witnesses that are involved. Those can be very expensive. What if someone says, I'm not sure I can afford an attorney right now, Jan?
You actually don't pay the attorney. And that's the beauty of this type of law. Oftentimes in other types of law, you're writing a check to the lawyer every month or a credit card payment for the hours that your case has consumed. In the case of personal injury, and why I like it so much, I can put as much time as I want, and I do put a lot of time into my cases to get you the help that you need, and it is a percentage based on the eventual outcome, so that if you don't prevail, you don't pay anything. The lawyer is not owed by you until something happens where you settle or take that case to trial.
Oftentimes in these catastrophic injury cases, Jan, the victim themselves, they're in the hospital, they may be unconscious. What is your suggestion? What's your advice for loved ones? They can contact your office on their behalf. How does that work?
Absolutely. If you have a loved one who is catastrophically injured, they're in the hospital, they're unable to act on their behalf, you can contact an attorney and you can say, I've got this loved one, I'm acting on their behalf, they need help, what do we do? And then the attorney will take the appropriate steps to either have you appointed as a guardian over them, or in the case of a deceased person, as their legal representative to pursue their claims.
I would assume, as with most of these cases, Jan, contacting an attorney sooner rather than later is the best rule of thumb?
It's always in your best interest to contact an attorney right away. If you are in a catastrophic accident or you've suffered a catastrophic injury by a product, there is valuable information that could be lost if you wait. Take, for example, a car accident. If the opposing side does not hear from a plaintiff's representative quickly, valuable evidence could be lost. Tapes could be destroyed. The car could be destroyed, which contains the ECM module that can provide valuable information as to speed, impact, and what the car was doing immediately prior to that accident.
Jan, lots of great information. Thank you so much for taking some time and helping us out today.
Absolutely. Anytime.
That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney Jan Hinson. If you want the best information or you're ready to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, make sure to go to askthelawyer.com first. Also, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe by clicking the button below. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com.